FBI agents pulled boxes and boxes of evidence from the Houston Health Department. This morning's FBI raid is one of the top stories right now on KHOU.com.
When the FBI raided the Houston Health Department a few weeks ago, we already knew what they were investigating. A COVID-19 marketing contract given to a company called Neutral Gray. They were paid hundreds of thousands of your dollars to tell you to mask up. We had peeled the mask off that company's use of your tax dollars more than a year before.
The idea is to see this as a no shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service.
But at the time, we didn't mention this guy, Goodwill Pierre, the former aide to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who first incorporated Neutral Gray.
Hey, this is Wayne Trevino. How are you?
Very busy, very working. How can I help you?
On his website, Goodwill Pierre says he consults on what he calls diversity inclusion. Pierre gets a piece of government contracts to police the work being done by affirmative action subcontractors, like here at Edison Lofts, a $6.6 million Hurricane Harvey apartment project.
The name of my business is Roofing Designs by JR LLC. I formed the company in November 2016.
You met China Gragg a year and a half ago. The roofing company owner had already blown the whistle on alleged corruption at the Houston Housing Authority.
Corrupt. 100% corrupt.
It is a place poisoned with political meddling and big paydays for the former chairman of the HHA and the wife of County Commissioner Rodney Ellis.
It's not like I knew who she was or her husband. I don't have a history of running around with politicians.
The Edison loss was being funded by a different housing agency, but Gragg says it was that same politician's wife, Leisha Green Ellis, who called her to talk money.
She was asking you to lower your bid.
Absolutely, on behalf of them or of whoever, I don't know.
Gragg said no.
Ever since then, there have been problems?
Pure hell. Pure hell.
The owner of Roofing Designs eventually sent this nasty email to Ellis. 6 hours later, guess who notified Roofing Designs they were in danger of losing their contract? Goodwill Pierre. Small town, huh? But Pierre isn't the only one with political connections, now in the diversity inclusion biz.
How it's worked for me is I've built a lot of relationships.
Argentina James. She worked for the city of Houston, then the Port of Houston. Got that controversial $380,000 severance package when she left there. She handles PR for the airport, TxDOT, Metro, and Houston First. For years, her firm just did PR. But suddenly, 3 years ago, Argentina James and her family went into the construction contract compliance biz. And without any experience that we know of, some of the biggest companies with local government contracts suddenly hired her firm.
The space for me was large public infrastructure projects.
The Enclave at Lake Point is a senior housing project that's almost complete. It's a Hurricane Harvey project that cost U.S. taxpayers $27.4 million. The builder on the Enclave job is Royal America. 1/3 of the project was set aside for MWBE firms, minority and women-owned businesses. An Argentina James company was paid by taxpayers to make sure all went well. It didn't.
It's almost as if they look for ways to show that you are not in compliance. And even when you are in compliance, we still have trouble getting paid.
Century Air Solutions in Tomball says it stood to make $875,000 for its part of the work on the Enclave. They say they were owed more than $300,000 when they got fired.
I think we received one check on it for around 40 or 50. Don't hold me to that, but it's not much. And then we had invoices, another 2 or 3 invoices for pushing $200,000. Haven't seen any of that.
Owner Fat Bowie doesn't like to talk about what happened, but the company president is, and he wants justice.
I'm mad as I can be right now, Wayne.
Century Air says it was accused of abandoning the job. But Vernon Beck says they didn't abandon the job, they just took other work because they weren't getting paid.
It was a shocker to be fired off the project because I had to take my people off, but I had to take them off, Wayne, so they could go on another job because I knew they would be paid there.
But Century hasn't sued the big Florida construction company for the money they claim they are owed.
We don't have the deep pocketbooks that we can go fight these issues with them.
We've been investigating Royal American. The founder of the company was once accused by the federal government of using a bank he ran to give out $77 million in bad construction and real estate loans. Court records we've uncovered show Royal American has been accused before of cheating subcontractors. There were allegations Hispanic workers were underpaid on another building project.
This never should have happened. And I'm just one vendor. This is happening to other people.
We've talked to China Gragg before about the Houston Housing Authority, but she's now locked in a nasty legal battle with Royal American over the work her company did on another Harvey project, the roof at 900 Winston. Gragg's firm was fired after the roof was 90% done over a dispute about a leak. Royal American is now suing her, and Gragg says they still owe her over $600,000 from her contract. Vernon Beck thinks all this is just retaliation against Gragg, the fallout from her interviews with Dolcefino Consulting.
The project superintendent told me these are all lawyers for Royal American, and we're going to put the screws to China.
It's really why Vernon Beck is daring to speak out himself. He's watched Gragg face an avalanche of trouble ever since she tried to expose the curious influence of County Commissioner Rodney Ellis's wife in Houston public housing projects.
She said, "You're not going to run over me." And so she stood up. And so she has been somewhat inspirational for us.
We have no way of knowing if Leisha Green Ellis and Argentina James chat much, but we do know that Hilde didn't protect the MWBE firm. Royal American denies that Leisha Green Ellis is involved in their project and are now asking a judge to punish Gragg for talking to us. But we know the FBI is on the trail. They've interviewed China Gragg, and in recent weeks, they've interviewed Vernon Beck.
The city and the county, they both know this is going on. There's no way they could be as involved on these projects and not know this is happening. And we're not the only people complaining.
In an email to the mayor and others in city and state government, Gragg said the city of Houston had placed some local vendors and contractors in dire hardship. Gragg has another reason to be upset. The city office that oversees minority firms, they say the city housing office let Royal American fire roofing designs without proper notice. None of the bigwigs at Royal American would interview with us, but I shared with their lawyers my thoughts on how big companies can often unfairly take advantage of small ones.
I will limit my interest to the fact that Royal American did to her what they've done to others, and that's screw her.
Now you get to hear a two-faced attorney. Listen to Royal American attorney Melissa Sternfels on the telephone with me.
You are a good person, and if you see a fight, you're going to run towards it. I get it. I know all that about you.
But minutes after we hung up, look at this. An email from my lawyer friend to a gaggle of other lawyers claiming I had just committed extortion, claiming I said, quote, unless Royal American settles the case, I was going to do a story about Royal American. She must not know me very well, so I've got a message for all those tough lawyers at Royal American. I'm doing a story either way, because I think the politics behind all these government housing deals stink.
We know we will never do another project like this, and I will never do anything for the city or the county, ever.